Last weekend there was 3 big tournaments. There was Team YCS El Salvador, YCS Sydney, and then the German Open Regional that had about 700 players. So we're going to go ahead and hop into some of the deck lists. But before we do that, I'm going to go ahead and just go over like the breakdown for each tournament. So the first one we have Team YCS El Salvador, or San Salvador. I thought it was El Salvador, but apparently it's San Salvador. Okay. So we can see most of the decks are here. They actually don't show only a few of them. We actually played this team in top 16, so I know this person's playing Pure Ryziel, and then I actually don't remember what these players are playing. I was too focused on my match. I'm pretty sure this player was playing Fiendsmith Ryziel, though, then I have no idea what their A player was playing. Then scrolling down, we can also, I don't know what this player was playing either. But we can see that it was a majority Ryziel. We can see that out of the top 16, which is, 16 times 3, there was 25 players playing Ryziel, which is a huge number of Ryziel. And then 3 Mitsurugi, which is really just 28 Ryziel, because they were playing, Ryziel, Mitsurugi. Then we can also see 2 Bestial, Fiendsmith, and also, I was about to say, at least one of these numbers are also Ryziel. Then we can see a U-Bell player top, which was Patrick Hoban, which he actually has back-to-back tops now at YCS with U-Bell, which I think is really cool because this is a deck that a lot of people have completely disrespected. Pretty much ever since the release of Fua, a lot of people have just completely disrespected this deck. We also see that 1 Blue Eyes man at the top 8. We can see that 3 Malice man at the top 8. 2 Mitsurugi. Wait, only 3 Malice? Wait, am I tripping? Wait, Pac played Mitsurugi Ryziel? I'm pretty certain that he played Malice, I'm not gonna lie, but maybe I'm wrong? I definitely thought he played Malice, though. But okay, let's hop into some of the deck lists now, so we can see that the first place Cam Neal deck list playing the Pure Ryziel deck with mainly playing Breakers. We can see that he played Plugin, 2 Cross, played the 4 Pots, Bonfire, standard consistency cards. We can see double or nothing in the deck with the Utopia double. It's also really cool that you can do Garrus this and then attack with 20,000, which really lets you attack over anything for game. Or you have the Photon Populative, and this lets you switch something to attack, and then Utopia double to end the game over it. We have all the targets for Slayer. We have Book of Moon in the deck, which also helps protect your duo drive. We have Called by, Talon, Strike, Imperm. So this deck does have a lot of strong going first cards in it. Because it's even though it's Breaker Ryziel, quote unquote, it's really just Ultimate Slayer. If you're going first, Book of Moon, Talent, Strike, Imperm, Ash, Called by, all these non-engine cards work going first. Extremely well in the deck. We can also see in the side deck, we have Inscription in the side deck. This card's becoming more and more popular. I would say mainly Santoli has popularized this. Honestly, Santoli's popularized a lot of the Pure Ryziel theory, main deck Strike, side deck Inscription. Now on to the first place list again, one of their teammates. We have the Christian Urena deck profile, and we can see that he was just playing Mermail. Nothing too crazy in the main. I feel like this is fairly standard. I know some people before weren't playing the Glutonius, but to be honest, ever since I saw Julius play it on DB, I feel like this card should just be standard. This card's crazy. This card, special summons back out from the graveyard, tuners, that way you can make your synchro plays. They also only play the White Aura. They don't play the Whale in the deck. Well, I guess this might technically be a Whale, but the other Whale that lets you get 2 bodies for free, they don't play that one. We can see that, let's see, anything weird in the extra deck? No. Side deck, side deck another Minstrel for going first, that's fine. XYZ Encore to out Dweller, because Dweller's a huge problem for this deck. We can see that they main deck, the 6 Charmies, Ash, Imperm, Impulse. We also see that he plays Small World, and then looking at his teammates list, he played the exact same list, except cut Small World from the deck, which I think is a fair thing to do. It definitely hurts the consistency a little bit, but Small World is, it does take a lot of commitment to use the Small World. You're spending 2 cards to get 1, but if you're going first, spending 2 cards to get 1 is, completely fine, because your 1 cards are just, ending the game. You're getting Minstrel, and then you're going Deep Seeking, and then you're going, I win the game, and that's game. Wait, is their side deck different? No, the side deck's not different. Okay, and then looking at the second place list, this was Paulo's team. They all played the exact same deck list, so it's just one deck list to go over. They played 44 cards. They also only played 2 sword, which I think is interesting, especially as you go up in deck count. Maybe they tried justifying it because they were playing like cross out talents called by in main, so they had a lot of like protection. So if they draw one Ryziel card, they have a lot more ways to protect it. But I do think it's very important to draw one Ryziel card. If you don't draw a Ryziel card, it feels a lot worse. But also they have like combinations that they can draw of like Tract plus Fua that can get you to duo drive, and then you have like cross out called by that can help protect your duo drive. So I kind of understand why they cut down on sword. And I've also talked with Paulo before, and he said that, you know, I made a video about it, about how he didn't like the hands where you drew a bunch of engine. And he was also a huge fan of maining crossout before, too. We also see Metal Tronus in the main at 3, which if you expect a lot of Ryziel, this makes sense. We can see Droll in the main deck. He also isn't a big fan of Nib. Doesn't even play it as a 1-of for crossout. We can see like Valor, Ogre, which I think Ogre is a really good cross-out target. A lot of people are playing Ghost Ogre. And then looking at the extra deck, decided to play the Exceton Knight over like the second Requiem, SP, Typhon, second Eclipse Twins, anything like that. We decided to play the Exceton Knight, which is also the same conclusion that I came to, especially with Blue Eyes becoming a deck now. This card's really good against Blue Eyes, and also this card works really well in combination with Crossout, being able to protect it. Some people will let this card go through because they have Imperm for it, and then you just cross out the Imperm, and they're like, oh, geez, I just lose. Looking at the side deck, we can see Thrust in the side with the spells, the backward removal, but they don't play, like, Mischief of the Gnomes, D-Barrier, you know, Sanctum, anything like that. They were just assigned to play Thrust as a going second card, I'm assuming. I don't think this would be like a going first choice because all its settings Imperm, and I don't think I really want to like Thrust that Imperm from deck. That doesn't sound very great, right? Yeah, we can also see that they decided to play the Meows. Then looking at my list from third place, yeah, I played the same extra deck as they did. Wait, it's the same extra deck, right? Yeah. Okay, I was just double checking. For some reason, I didn't remember Chaos Angel in their extra deck. I was like, that'd be crazy to not play. So I decided to play 3 sword. I played 1 less card than they did. I also played Nib. I also made deck Bestials. Bestials were nice for me over the weekend, even though the entire day 1 I only played against Malice and Mermail. These cards were still okay. They put bodies on board. They make Chaos Angel easier. They make Moon easier. These cards are just nice going second. I like hand traps that like put bodies on board. It helps a lot with like your Fiendsmith cards. Then we can also see I main deck Metal Tronus, but I just played Metal Tronus as a 1-of and Ghost Ogre as a 1-of for the crossout. Then I main deck 2 crossout, side the third, and then side more going first cards like crossout, Talons, Judgment. I think Talons is like okay. I kind of just wanted to be a little bit more prepared for people that weren't playing as many hand traps in their Ryziel deck. So that way I can also like cross out the talents. I can cross out Bonfire, cross out, you know, against Mitsurugi. But I don't know if talents is actually necessary. Side Typhon for going second into, you know, a bunch of matchups. And then I sided Chaos Hunter because I thought Meow wasn't very great overall. Thought I was still losing a lot of games. I dropped Meow on my Malice opponents. They were just going Cryptor MTP with a non-engine card pass, and I felt like I was still just losing, so I just wanted like more blowouts. Then looking at the next, this is also third place. This is Landon Oliver's deck list. We don't have Ruben's deck list on here, but we can go ahead and see that he played 43 cards, triple sword. What was the differences in the deck? Okay, I main deck Crossout, he main deck 3 Ogre, I played 1 Metal Tronus, he played a Talon, so pretty much like these two are Crossout, this is my Metal Tronus, and like that's the difference in our main deck. And then looking at the extra deck, we played the same extra deck. Looking at the side deck, the side decks are definitely different because I main decked some Crossout and a Metal Tronus, and then I played Chaos Hunter over the Meow, just because I didn't like Meow overall. I think Meow's like okay, but I don't like this card as much as I like Chaos Hunter. I like Chaos Hunter a lot, even though there's like a good amount of outs to Chaos Hunter. Like I'm just trying to like, you know, beat Malice. I'm just trying to beat him, man. I'm not trying to drop Meow and still just lose. Okay, now we have a top 4 list, which was Ryziel Mitsurugi. They got 4th place. They were the B player. They were playing just 1 Omno, 1 Futso, only 1 Sword. We've seen a lot of people bump Sword up, so that way this deck has more like longevity in it. Otherwise, you can run out of a lot of resources post turn 1. if you're only playing Ryziel and you don't get to cross because they like imperm your duo and you just don't have your Mitsurugi play set up. We can also see that they were main decking the trap. And I'm not even gonna lie, I also want to point this out too, is I feel like a lot of people from Latin America and South America are typically behind on deck theory. I'm not 100% sure why that is, but I feel like a lot of them typically are. And we might be seeing it here with like one trap in the main, one sword in the main. Like, these are things that we were doing like, you know, like 2 months ago. Like, you know what I mean? These were theories that we were having with the deck like a while ago. Like, these theories have changed like definitely within the last month. Like, we even saw these not even be played at Birmingham, which was a month ago. But I'll talk more on the behind on deck theory here soon. Then we can see Tornado Dragon, which was really good against the Blue Eyes deck. It's also like fine into other decks too, just like popping in perm, you know, popping the back row, then trying to play. If you can't like Exciton Knight them. And then side deck Strike, Metal Tronus, yeah, main decks to Called By. And then next list, we also have 4th place at the YCS El Salvador. We have a Fiendsmith Ryziel deck list playing a clean 40, 2 sword in the main, Ash, Nib, Fua, Veiler, Bestials, Imperm, 1 Talents, 1 Called By. Yeah, it doesn't look like there's anything like too crazy in the deck overall. Yeah, it's like a pretty standard list. There's nothing like too crazy in this list. Then we can see Patrick Holben's top 8 with the Fiendsmith U-Bell deck. And I think this deck list is honestly like really cool. I know it's like, it's not like a crazy deck list or anything, right? Like, we're not seeing any crazy U-Bell spice. It's just the fact that, well, I guess besides like playing 1 Synced over the second track, just that way you have like more options. So if you draw like 1 tract or 1 sync plus an engraver, now you have like different options to do with that. You have more like unique pushes instead of cards that do the same thing. But I would say other than that, the deck list doesn't have any like crazy spice in it. Yeah, it doesn't have any like crazy spice in it. But I think that's fine. Like, I think it's really cool that we still see U-Bell performing and Patrick Hoban's top back-to-back tournaments with the deck. And I was also watching him play over the weekend. Well, I watched him play like 2 matches over the weekend, and I mean, he was cooking. I'm not gonna lie. Some of the games I was like, yeah, he's just not gonna win, and then he just kept going and going and going, and I was like, okay, fair enough. I mean, it is just, you know, I mean, it is what U-Bell was before. It's just hope that you don't get hit with Fua. If you don't get hit with Fua, then, you know, you're going to do big combo, and you probably just win the game if you combo. You know, having 1 Phantom doesn't really matter that much. You can put it back with, like, Soul of Rage, Nightmare Throne. But okay, now we have another top 8 list. We have Bestial Malice, which is just Malice with 8 Bestials in it. We see main deck Thrust, Talons, side deck more Thrust. We see them decide to play Chaos Hunter. We also see them decide to cut, like, Nightmare Griffin, Abawa, and stuff like that, and decide just to play Heat Soul. Which I think this is a fine thing to do, to be honest, because it doesn't feel like you need to, like, make this big end board to win the game. Like, if you have, like, you know, you have the option between IP, SP, Heat Soul, you know, you don't really need Nightmare Griffin and stuff like that. I think it's fine to not play that. They also don't play Metal Tronus, though, and Detonator, which does make it a lot harder to out Detonator, which I think is, like, it's like a real problem for this deck. Like, Detonator can definitely just like trade into this deck very well. So it's interesting that they decided not to play Metal Tronus. They also like threw a Thrust into the main and these into the main, which I think like these do somewhat help against Detonator. Like, they definitely help. It's a little bit weird sometimes though, because, you know, you do have to bait the monster effect and then you have the Talons. So it can be very awkward with these cards. But okay, hopping into the next list, we have a top 16 Blue Eyes deck, playing the Seahorse. We have, let's see what else, Metal Tronus in the deck with, you know, Detonator, Mirror Logic's also there for the Ultimate Slayer. We see side deck Ancient Fairy for time, Skill Drain Judgment for going first, 8 cards for Malice. This deck does have not a great Malice matchup overall. We also don't see like Ghost Ogre in the main. Yeah, just having like the Metal Tronus in the main also makes the matchup like a little bit more awkward. Like, this card definitely works going second, but it's not the greatest card going second. It will actually very rarely win you the game going second into Malice. So, taking something like Ghost Ogre out of your deck and putting Metal Tronison does make your matchup just like, slightly a little bit worse. So we also see only 2 Veiler. So obviously they don't like Veiler too much as a hand trap. They just wanted to have the options to search it, which I do think you want to play 2 of this card minimum, so that way you're able to like search multiple Veilers in your combo. Now we have a Malice top 16 deck. And here's where I want to talk about it again. Like, they're playing Dotscaper. And you might be like, oh, DB Grinder, they're behind. Why are they playing Dotscaper? Well, everyone was playing Dotscaper in their Malice deck, it felt like. Like, there's like, okay, how can I describe this? Like, there's like the advanced players, like the people that, like the deck list that I showed that was on Raphael Reich's team. Like, he was not playing the Dotscaper. But then, like, other people were playing Dotscaper, and I saw a lot of Dotscaper, like, a lot, and most people were making Red Ransom, then White Binder. They weren't making White Binder, then Red Ransom, even in hands where they were, like, resolving Dormouse. Like, they would, like, Dormouse, Cat, White Rabbit, then make Red Ransom, not even make White Binder next. And it felt like the Malice players were just playing extremely greedy with their combos. And that's something that we've noticed that a lot of European and American players have stopped doing. Because that's like mainly who plays on DB. But we've noticed that a lot of those players have completely stopped doing that, because you don't need to play absolute greedy. Like, once you achieve Link 3, the odds of you winning that game is extremely high. Sometimes you make Red Ransom for sure. Sometimes you make White Binder, but they were always going Red Ransom, like almost every single time. And they're playing the Dotscaper, which this card's horrible. So I don't know. I don't get why people play this card. I don't know why this card was like ever played in the deck, to be honest. Actually, I do know why this card was played, because we were bad at the game. Like, we were bad at Malice when this deck first came out. And then also, Bystials were not great into the format, because literally everybody was playing like pure Ryziel. There was still like Snake Eye running around, and Bystials were like meh into Snake Eye. Now we have like more Fiendsmith decks running around, more Blue Eyes running around, stuff like that. So Bystials became better. So you like have more extenders in your deck. I just don't think this card's good. This card probably should have just never been played, to be honest. It's just not a good card overall. Now we have the German Opens, which had about 800 players in it. And we can see that Memento won, Ryziel Fiendsmith got second, Malice got third, Ryziel got fourth, Blue Eyes got fifth, sixth, and then we don't know what 7th and 8th we're playing. But we can go ahead and hop into the first place deck list, which they were main decking Meow, which is crazy. Main decking Meow over any of the other Charmies is a wild choice. They must have really, like, noticed that they were losing very hard to specifically Malice, and then understood that, like, this card also does stuff into, like, Fiendsmith cards. Like, if they go, like, first play tracked and you Meow them, like, that feels good. Like, you're 1-for-1 trading just off the Lurie summon back. And then, like, if they use Engraver later on, Node later on, like, you're just drawing more and more. Agnunde even. But okay, we see, let's see, 2 Darkblade in the deck. They are not playing the Goblin Biker Doug in the deck at all, which we've seen people put 1 Doug and 1 Grand Entrance into the deck to be able to get access to it off the Grand Breakout into Detonator. We do see 2, 4, 7, 8, 11, 14 non-engine, which I think that's a solid amount of non-engine for a deck like this. A deck that has so many engine requirements, like, one. They're also playing the Horn, but like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Like, these are like all engine requirements. They're not even like your main like starter plays either. Well, I guess like technically a bunch of these are engine requirements, but these are like the awkward engine requirements. And I think this card does add more to your board because it allows you to go ahead and pop more cards. So, like, setting this up is nice. They also have the Dagduff and Lancia stuff in here. We can see that they played the Triple King in the extra deck. Molong, Mirror Logic for the Slayer in the side deck. So, not going for Fiendsmith, not going for, like, huge combo or anything. We also see Sprint for Scatter Shot. I mean, look at this. I mean, like, 1, 2, 3, 4 of their cards in the extra deck are just there for like side deck things, and then they play like an extra king just because like I may as well, like, because I mean I guess you go through one turn one and then you go through the second one by dumping it off the first one, then they want the third one in deck. We also see that they play the Fracture Dance in the side, Thrust with some targets. And then we see the third place Bestial Malice deck, which this has Ultimate Slayer in the main deck to be able to help out like Detonator. It's like okay into the mirror. It's not even playable into Blue Eyes because they don't even play a Synchro unless if the opponent ends on Seal. We play Metal Tronus. We play only 2 Allure Darkness. Playing 1 Imperm in the main. Interesting that we decided to play 1 Imperm in the main. 2 Veiler, 1 Imperm. What? Why did we play 2 Veiler, 1 Imperm? I'm not sure. I guess maybe because, like, I have to run, like, the exact math behind it. Maybe it's because they want, like, 7 outs to Detonator. Because this, like, is an out to Detonator, while this isn't. And this gives you, like, 7. Which I forget the exact number on that. It's like, what, like 60%? Actually, it'd be a little bit different, right? Because, like, you can draw all these cards as your 6th card also. Yeah, I'm not sure. And then you also have, like, Allure Darkness. So you're really only playing a 39 card deck. Let's see, though. We side deck Shifter, Cross Out, Strike. Only 2 Cross Out. Really only 2 Cross Out. So you're putting Lancia in with only 2 Cross Out. I feel like that's not the greatest. Maybe we're not putting Lancia in, but no, I feel like we have to, right, if we're putting this in. Now we have a Blue Eyes deck. This is, top 8 at the German Opens. We have the Magma Mud in the deck. Sure, only 2 Fua, 3 Purge, Metal Tronus in the deck. Okay, yeah, nothing crazy here. Nothing to really talk about. Oh, I guess Whitebinder. They play for Metal Tronus also, so they can like actually banish Whitebinder face down instead of just trying to negate it. And then we have YCS Sydney, which had 900 players at it. We can see that the most represented deck was Ryziel, then Malice, and we also see 3 Mitsurugi Ryziel decks. We can see 1 Mermail top, 1 White Force top, 1 Bestial, I'm guessing that's Bestial Fiendsmith, 1 Memento, 1 Phantom Knight, 1 Crystron, 3 Blue Eyes, and Blue Eyes even made it to 3rd place. Yeah, they made it to 3rd place. We can also see that Yassine playing Crystron. Wait, was Yassine? Yassine was the only non-Australian to top the tournament. That's crazy. That's to be fair, a lot of the strong American players that sometimes travel over to Sydney were in El Salvador. So some of the people that do travel for this event just weren't traveling for this event this time around. We could see Fox got top 8. We could see... Okay, let's just go ahead and go to the deck list now. So we have the winner of the tournament with playing the Ryziel deck. Pure Ryziel played Droll in the main with Cross Out, Metal Tronus. Only 2 Desires, which I think is crazy because this deck definitely has a bricking problem. And I think, in Swiss, you can afford to brick and lose to it, but once you get the top cut, you have to get through top 32, top 16, top 8, top 4, finals, and you don't want to brick. And you can afford to brick 1 game, in top cut, sure. I'm not saying you're gonna brick 2 games in a row, the odds aren't too high of you doing that, but if you do brick game 3, you might just get blown out of the water pretty quickly, even though your deck plays a decent amount of non-engine. We can see they play the Star Liege Photon Blast Dragon, which I think this card's good in pure. Especially right now, people are also playing Metal Tronus. This card also just beats Metal Tronus. People also started playing the Ghost Ogre again. So this card beats Ghost Ogre plus Metal Tronus. It does lose to Ash and Nib though, really hard. So you really only go for it if you have Cross Out. Or I guess if you really think your opponent has Veiler Imperm or something. We see that they side deck Ultimate Slayer, more Drolls, Judgment. Also, something to note about Judgment over Strike is Judgment can beat stuff like Metal Tronus, Talons. It also beats Mermail harder. If your opponent goes normal summon Neptibus, and you have Strike set, you're gonna be kind of sick that it's Strike and not Judgment. And that is a real matchup that you do have to prepare for. It's a very scary matchup too. Then we see Malice that got 2nd place at the tournament. Main decking Shifter, playing, 2 Baldric, only playing 6 Bystials, cut down on the number that we've seen a lot of other people play. We see Talents, No Allure, Darkness, playing 41 cards with only 2 Cat. Yeah, so I wonder if they brick too, just because like they're not playing Allure, they're playing 41, they're not playing 3 Cat, no Terraforming either. Then we can also see in the side deck, tons of going first cards to be able to try to combat getting hit with Lancia, so we were able to like try to like stun them back. You also have like Shifter that can help stun people back too. And then on to the next list, we have Blue Eyes that got 3rd place at YCS Sydney. And this was playing only 2 Fua in the main, playing 41 cards. Is this the same deck list that we just looked at a second ago from the German Opens? This kind of feels similar. Oh, I guess they play like 3 Talents, 1 Called By. They do play Majesty. They side deck Ultimate Slayer with Mirror Logic. They have Chaos Hunter, Lancia, Back Row Hate, Judgment. Okay, I mean, this isn't like a crazy Blue Eyes list or anything. Like, it seems like fairly standard. Doesn't play the Bestial Magma Mud anywhere. And then on to the next list, we have Kashtira Crystron, played by Yassine. And he definitely had some interesting takes on the deck. And I know Yassine's been playing this deck for a while now. He's playing both of the Synchro 5 Speedroids, playing the 2 FA Don Dragster. He's playing the Draco Sack Cherubini, which, you can do with your Kashtira cards. Even though he doesn't play that many Kashtira cards, though, so it's kind of hard to, like, actually get that off, I feel like. But the extra definitely has space. But if you draw, like, Unicorn plus Fenrir, then, that can, Unicorn Birth, normal, Draco Sack, Cherubini, and then dump, like, Smiger, and then boom. Now you have, like, your Crystron stuff set up, which is strong, and then you have SP that you can also make with the Draco Sack plus Cherubini, and then also Bird Special Summon back out, like, Fenrir or Unicorn, plus Crystron combo. Like, that's very, very strong if you actually get it off. And then we can see that they do play the Turtle in the deck that special summons 1 from hand. Like, nobody's playing this card. 2 Tristaros, everybody's playing 3. 2 Soufflador, it feels like everyone's playing 3 of this card. So he's definitely came and, like, changed some of the, like, quote-unquote standard ratios that we've seen, and now I think people are going to try to work on this deck a little bit more and see, like, if they can change the ratios on it. But I think a big thing of this deck is your technical play has to be extremely good, especially with your engine, like, knowing how to accurately play your engine. A lot of people just cannot play this deck correctly at all. Like, not even close to correctly. Maybe they can play turn 1 correctly, but they're not playing turn 2, turn 3, turn 4, or turn 5 correctly, it feels like. Now we have the Phantom Knight deck that got top 16, which is a wild format to play Phantom Knight in, because, like, Lancia's running around everywhere, but they're also playing Fiendsmith cards that, like, help, beat that. We see the Black Goat laughs. Is there a reason we're playing this? We don't have Thrust in the deck anywhere. We don't have Foolish Burial Goods in the list anywhere. There's no Beatrice, obviously. So we're just like, yeah, bro, let me just throw this card in here real quick. If I mill it, I mill it. Wait, you're not even milling, right? Oh, I guess Zombie Vampire, you're discarding with Instead you're discarding with Droplet. Okay, discarding with Torn Scales. I guess there are, like, a decent amount of discards in this deck. You could also technically discard it with Track 2 going into a board if you need to. But yeah, I feel like this is just a crazy format to play the Phantom Knight deck. But, you always see, like, Phantom Knight top, like, weird YCSs every once in a while. The deck does have, like, a lot of power behind it, especially if it goes first. Like, setting up multiple Fog Blades, going, like, Raiders Knight into, like, Arc Rebellion. Like, it's very strong overall if you can, like, combo. And then next deck list, we have the Primite, Buster Blader, Blue Eyes. They're also playing Jet Dragon, only 2 Sage, playing 2 Buster Whelp. It does play the Magma, also plays the Neo Kaiser Seahorse, 2 Nib, 2 Ogre, playing like 1 of each of the Trap, 1 Talons. Okay, never mind. I was about to say, doesn't play Roar. That sounds crazy, but no, they do play Roar. Okay, yeah, not too much more to say about this deck. We have seen, like, the Buster cards pop up some. I think it's very good. I think you should know what these cards do at the bare minimum. Like, I don't think you probably won't even play against this at a YCS, to be honest. You might play against it at, like, a regional or a local. But I think you should know at least, like, what, like, the Fusion plus the Synchro do on the end board. You should, like, know bare minimum, like, what these cards do. Because, if there's a chance you play against it. And when you play against something like this, you should know exactly what it does, so that way you know how to try to combat it correctly. And then now we have Goblin Biker Memento, which they are playing the one Grand Entrance, one Doug that I was talking about earlier that some people are doing. They are playing 3 Darkblade. We can see that they're playing just a bunch of Breakers, Droplet, Slayer, Eclipse, Talents, like a bunch of cards that also just like beat Detonator too. Oh, one Fua in the main. God, yes, the one Fua. Doesn't have any more Fua in the side. Maybe they just only own one Fua. I mean, this card is pretty expensive. It's like $90. It says 65 right there at the bottom, but that's just not correct. This card's like $90. This card's like pretty expensive, so kind of makes sense why, you know, some people aren't playing 3 of it, because I mean that's like $300 for 3 cards, which is crazy work. That's crazy work. It's like more than your entire Memento core probably, like most likely, right? Then we can also see Celine, Lina, Dark Charmer. We have Agave Dragon for time. This deck just has to play a time card. Like, you have no choice. You have to play a 1. Malong for Slayer for Blue Eyes. And then we have a Raziel Mitsurugi deck list, playing 2 Saji, no Trap, playing more Sword. Yeah, this is like more of like an updated Mitsurugi list compared to like the other guy playing Futso with the Trap in the deck. Yeah, and they're playing more Sword. Yeah, so it's like they're even like the Sydney theory is ahead of like El Salvador theory. And then we can see Cowboy for time. Or I guess like if you attack for like 72, then you can Cowboy them for game. Which, you know, it actually can come up. It actually can come up. There was like, I think there was one game over the weekend where I attacked my opponent. And then I was like, oh, if I play Cowboy right now, I could just Cowboy them for game. But obviously, like, I didn't play it. But I was like, oh, I could. That'd be pretty funny. But okay, now we have Azumina, White Forest. I got top 32. And this deck is definitely slept on. But I think it's definitely behind some of the other decks. But I definitely think this deck is slept on. Like, a lot of people don't know exactly what these cards do. Even I am not like 100% confident playing into this deck, to be honest. Like, I know what the cards do. Like, you know, this summons itself, this fusion summons. If it's sent to the graveyard synchro material, you get to add the Sinful Spoil stuff. That's how you can like bridge into this stuff pretty easy. You have this that's Book of Moon and can reset itself. You have this that can like fusion summon or special summon one from hand. You know, this resets itself. This can reset itself. Like, I know what the cards do. But it's like, at the same time, like, I don't know, I'm not super confident playing into the deck because I haven't tested against it, like, almost at all. I've done very, very little testing into this build of White Forest. Like, I played against a lot of the White Forest deck prior to them getting, like, the Elzeti Azumina stuff. But since they've gotten it, I haven't really tested into it very much. I did play against it at, like, YCS Birmingham, and I beat it. But even then, like, I wasn't, like, super confident. When I went first, I was very confident. When I went second, I was not very confident. And then you also got to play 1 Veiler for your Synchro that's able to go ahead and search off for a Light Spellcaster. Definitely want to have a Veiler to be able to search off of that. We also only see 2 Black Goat Laps in the side deck. A lot of people main deck Black Goat Laps in this deck just because you can like White Forest, Black Witch. Like, you can just pitch this card to play, and then this card gets value in the grave. It's like playing it in Pearly. But, okay, yeah, this video is already 33 minutes long, so I'm going to go ahead and end it there really quick. Also, if you want to check out any of these deck lists, I have the deck download links down below at the top of the description. Well, not in the description, my bad. At the top of the comments section. So if you want to go ahead and check it out, you can. And there's also an option to, like, buy the decks on TCG Player. If you want to go ahead and click that, just make sure you press Optimize Cart, so that way you get a better price for it. And with that being said, the DB Grinders signing off. Peace, have a nice day, stay safe.